Good day, AIME team broker community. It is I, Ben Lavender, New York's favorite and probably only British mortgage broker. So the AIME team asked me to hop on here and go over some branding stuff, right? And the whole point of today is to give you guys some tools that I use, not just the tools itself, but kind of the idea on how I do things. And for those of you who are kind of newer to the social media and branding game, I do everything in the most simplistic manner possible. I don't use anything fancy. I don't do anything fancy. So all the ideas that I'm going to share today are going to be very, very easy to implement. Okay, so the AIME team has given me a list of questions that I'm going to basically attack one at a time for you guys and gals. And hopefully you'll learn a good amount of info and you'll be able to implement it fairly quickly and easily so you can see your business grow. So I'll reintroduce myself again, is Ben Lavender from Madison Mortgage here in New York. I personally found that not only becoming a broker, but really branding myself on social media and staying active has really had a tremendously positive impact on my business for multiple reasons. But what I'll do is I'll start off by, as I mentioned before, attacking these questions. So let's do it. Question number one, and if I'm turning away, guys, it's because I'm reading the question. So, okay, how branding yourself can benefit your business. So let's just talk about branding itself in general, because I feel like when people hear the word branding, it's kind of like you think of Coke and you think of Tesla or some big Fortune 500 company, right? So it's really not that complicated. It's basically what branding can do for you is make it easy for people to really identify you no matter where you are, or having the same identity or message, regardless of whether they see you through your email drips, whether you send them mailers, or you're interacting with people on social media, particularly Facebook and Instagram. Okay, so what I find that branding really does is turn people who are a little bit colder to the idea of using you and then turning them into more of like a warm lead or a warm referral source. So a quick kind of tip, and shout out to Adam Smith, loan officer from Colorado, great guy. And he gave me this tip, but it's a small tip and it's an important tip, is use the same picture on all your social media platforms, or basically anywhere where your picture is required in this business. So I have the same picture of my big bald head on my business cards, on my email signatures, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, and everything else that I haven't even thought of, right? So something as simple as that, as using the same picture, is a form of branding. It is a form of consistency that your audience sees and makes it easy for them to identify you and get used to you. Okay, so that's just one little tip right there. So let's see. Question number two, how has branding or my branding strategy helped you build a customer base? We could go on for a long time here. So it's been tremendously helpful, right? So what it basically does is that, I'll give you an example. Let's say that you are friends with / follow people, communicate with people across multiple platforms. Again, let's use, say, email drips, mailers, again, Facebook, Instagram as an example. So what happens is that people, and again, the people that you follow, that you're friends with, are used to seeing you in a specific format, talking about the same type of thing over and over again. So I brand myself as Ben Lavender, New York's favorite British mortgage broker. It's the same message on every single platform. It's not a complicated message. It's very, very simple, and it's definitely cheesy. Cheesy is okay. Try, when branding yourself, try not to think about what is ideal for you as a loan originator. Think about what is the easiest thing for your audience to remember. So if if you like knitting, right, you could say, I'm the knitting loan officer from South Carolina or wherever you're located. Just something that it's easy for people to remember you. Okay, that's, I would say, the number one thing if you're picking like a tagline or something like that. You don't even need a tagline, but I do recommend it. Cheesier, shorter, simpler, sweeter is really the way to go there. Okay, so I'll talk a little bit more about how branding has helped increase my my customer base. Is that the consistency is a huge part of it, not just the consistency of your picture of your tagline, but the type of content that you're posting. And we'll get into content in maybe 10-15 minutes, as it's a huge part of it, and it's not even nearly as complicated as people think that it is. Okay, so let's talk question number 3. What are the obstacles you faced when creating your brand, and how did you navigate them? So I personally didn't face any obstacles other than, I had some concerns about compliance and, making sure I don't put anything in there, which I just checked with our president and CEO, Shah Tehrani, who some of you probably know. That's really it. What I do find is that most people have difficulty or reluctance to being on camera, or they're camera shy. And the way that I see most social media gurus kind of coach people on how to deal with it is to just kind of do it, right? Just do it and get over it. But obviously, that advice only goes so far, right? Because if you could just get over it and easily do it, you would have done that already. So the way that I want those of you guys and gals who are a little bit reluctant to get on camera is to kind of take a step back and look at your social media feed from an outside perspective, right? Like, think about how much content there is and realize how difficult it actually is to be seen. So what I mean by that is that everyone on social media is competing for attention in one form or for one reason or another. Okay, so if it's insanely difficult, for instance, like for someone to get famous, if you want to put it that way, and garner the attention of a massive audience, the chances of a mortgage broker, going viral for a basic video and getting all this attention, and the worry is that you don't look perfect or you don't come across as perfect, not speaking in the most eloquent manner, if you would. The truth is that most people really don't care, right? People don't care about your content nearly as much as you think that they do. You're not that special, is what I like to say, okay? No one really cares. So don't think of it that much that, people, like, someone sits down there for 2 minutes and looks through your videos, your posture, what you stuttered. I've continuously said on this on this video. I've stuttered numerous times or lost my train of thought. At the end of the day, those of you who are watching this, probably 10% will implement and are taking notes of what I'm saying, and the remaining 90% are just going to go along with their day. I mean, of course, I hope that more of you who need it ultimately implement what I'm saying, but the truth is that 90% of the people here aren't going to remember me stuttering and saying and stumbling over my words, because there is so much content on the internet. It's an insane amount. It's too much for people to really sit there and nitpick at what we're doing. So that's the way to think about it, guys and gals, is that no one really cares nearly as much as you think they do. I promise you. You could just put up, if you want to ease into video, this is a suggestion that I'll make. Start off with posting on stories. stories feel, because they are less permanent. As you know, Instagram and Facebook, they're only on for 24 hours. They're not plastered on your actual feed and on your feed there forever. So again, quick recommendation, just grab your phone and go selfie status. Okay, just say, hey, this is Ben Lavender, your favorite British mortgage broker. Just wanted to let you know that the market is on fire. If you've been living under a rock, you don't know that, right? But you know now. And if you have any questions or concerns regarding mortgages or acquiring real estate, I'm here for you. Ben Lavender, have a great day. It's that simple, right? It doesn't need to be a whole complex thing. It's just, when it comes to social media, in my opinion, quantity is better than quality. If you can do both, fantastic, but you're better off putting out a lot of quantity in terms of content that isn't necessarily perfect. And I have a whole other, or you could call it a philosophy. I'm not the Socrates of social media branding and content, but it's better to put out that imperfect content multiple times a week or more consistently than that one quality, high produced video very, very infrequently. Okay, and going back to the philosophy portion of it, I want my consumers, or whoever is watching the stuff that I put out there, to feel that I am relatable. And in my opinion, that's what you should do as well. So imagine if we, as mortgage brokers, who the general public find us, you could say, intimidating to communicate with, because we speak all this long, boring mortgage jargon that the average consumer doesn't understand. So you don't want to get on a video and start talking about DTI and LTV and how it affects, the PMI with your credit score being this level, that level, right? If you want to do that, that's okay, but that would be one video at a time. Think about everything from the consumer's perspective. Okay, you want to make it easy for the consumer to understand your content. You want it to be easy to watch, but most importantly, they need to feel comfortable to reach out to you. Okay, so for that's one of the reasons, by the way, that I stopped wearing suits. I don't wear suits anymore because I find that when I did videos with suits on, people were a little bit more intimidated than the videos that I tried that were more casual, whether it was a t-shirt, polo, whatever it is. You want the consumer to feel comfortable reaching out to you. So I know that I said that in numerous different ways, but it's very, very important, because if your content is overly intimidating and you look like this, I'm this mortgage broker on a pedestal and I know everything, and what I say goes, they're not going to reach out to you, which is ultimately what we all want, right? We want our audience to engage with our content. And actually, now that I brought that up, guys, that's something that I'll address as well. So just because you put content out there on social media or wherever and people don't engage, it does not mean that people aren't watching or aren't noticing. I can't tell you how many networking events I've been to, or I've had people call me who have never interacted with my content. Never. They haven't DM'd me, they haven't commented, they haven't liked, but they've called me when they need a mortgage, right? So just because no one is interacting, it does not mean that no one is watching you. I heard that on average, it takes someone 6 months of seeing your content consistently before they feel comfortable enough to reach out to you. Okay, that's a long commitment. So if your plan is to get into the branding game, the social media game, and keep putting stuff out there, then keep that in mind, that it's a long-term commitment. If you put 1 or 2 videos out there and people don't really interact, don't get discouraged. It's very normal. And to even add to that, a lot of my content personally doesn't get a lot of engagement, even to this day. And I've been doing the social media stuff for a couple of years now. And again, that's okay, because when I'm on the phone with a realtor that I work with, or a client that is calling me or that I'm talking to, they're like, oh, hey, Ben, I saw your video on this subject the other day. That was really cool. But the video only got like 2 likes, and one of those likes came from my mom, and then the other was like some random person. So again, keep that in mind. Don't get discouraged. The branding game is long-term. People need to see you consistently before they feel comfortable enough to reach out to you. And also your content, to recap, must be welcoming and, in one form or another. Overly produced videos tend to intimidate people. Okay, not everyone, but keep that in mind. So let's go on to the next question. What platforms do you use for branding? Okay, that's pretty simple. So I personally use, my main 2 right now is obviously Facebook and Instagram. That's where people who are looking to buy or sell real estate or refinance their real estate are on. Okay, I've heard of people getting tremendous success with Snapchat. There are even some people that are part of the Brokers Are Better community that are doing very, very well on TikTok. I'm jumping on TikTok next, but I'm also present on LinkedIn. But overall, my opinion as to where you should be when it comes to branding is everywhere. You should be everywhere and in as many places as you possibly can be, which in itself is it can be a full-time job, right? Just putting out content, and it can be challenging to do that and balance a pipeline, especially, as of the recording of this video, we're in the beginning of January 2021. We're all extremely busy, right? Our pipelines are bigger than they ever have been, or at least I hope they are for you. For me, it's certainly been that case. So it's difficult to do the social media game when we're managing a full pipeline and we're bursting at the seams. So my recommendation, obviously, and this is a whole other topic in itself, but hire people so it can free up your time to do that kind of stuff, or hire people so you can do it and they can do other stuff. You could, whichever way works for you. But what I was also going to say as well, that if that is not an option for you at your current stage in your career to hire help, then the way to do it is to really time slot it. Okay, so you could say to yourself that, at 8 a.m. every day, I'm going to spend half an hour putting content across all platforms. And you can use the same piece of content and put it across every single platform, right? So that's something to definitely keep in mind and do, because I find that if it's the type of thing that you just kind of wing, you'll do it, but you won't be consistent. Okay, and as I mentioned before, the consistency of posting and interacting with people is absolutely key. And as I remember very, very distinctly at the AIME, I think it was a Fuse event in Atlantic City, I think this was summer of 2019, our friend Matthew Boyce said something that consistency compounds. And I've never forgotten that. When I heard him say that, that really helped me take my social media game to the next level and really stay consistent with it. So keep that in mind. Consistency compounds, especially with what we're doing with social media. Now, another thing I want to talk about while it's fresh in my head and I don't lose my train of thought is that putting content out there in the world is only one part of what we do. I'm sure everyone who's watching this has heard the saying or the phrase that people don't care about how much you know until they know how much you care about them specifically. So what I mean by that is that just blasting content out there in itself is good, but it's only half of the battle. The other half is that you need to engage with other people's content. right? Just because of, the law of reciprocation. You comment on someone's post, they're going to comment on yours. They comment on yours, you get more eyeballs, you're injected, you have a better edge rank, as they say on Facebook, and the weight of your posts becomes stronger. So this way, as more people like and comment on your stuff, more people are going to see it. It's going to pop up on people's timelines. And the same thing goes for LinkedIn and Facebook. Instagram, by the way, even though the algorithm is different. And I hate that word algorithm. It's all everyone says these days. But my point is that if here's a quick strategy that you can implement. Let's say that you just made a video and you're about to put it on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, everywhere. Oh, I forgot that, by the way. YouTube is one of the other platforms that I use. But before I go off track again, if you're going to post something at, again, let's say 8:30 and it's currently 8 a.m., spend 5 to 30 minutes interacting with other people's posts on social media, whether, your liking is okay, but it doesn't connect you that much to the person you're interacting with. The best thing to do is to comment on people's posts and to DM them, Messenger, Instagram, DM, whatever. That is the best way to kind of tell Facebook, Instagram that you have an interest in that person. And that way, when you post stuff, Facebook, Instagram will automatically show your posts to that person you interacted with, because the platforms see that you have an interest in each other. Okay, so keep that in mind, interact, and then you can post, and you will see that more people will engage with your content versus you just putting it out there. It's not an exact science, it's not a guaranteed method, but like I said, consistency compounds, right? So if you add all these small little things together, it's a game of percentages, right? You add all these things up that have a increase of 1% here, 3% here, and then boom, your growth is at 50% per post, 60% per post. You get the picture. Okay, so next question: which platform has resonated the strongest with your clients? It's hard to say, but definitely they all connect. Okay, so I'll dive into why. I get the most interaction on my actual feed itself, probably on Facebook, because that's where I have the deeper connections with people. For me personally, it might not be the same for you. Okay, so yeah, more action in the comments on my posts, whereas Instagram, I'll have more action in my DMs. So on Instagram, I tend to have better communication with realtors versus Facebook. Even though Facebook I do as well, but Facebook I have more so, it's more of a mixture of other loan officers in the business, friends, family, past clients, and obviously I'm friends with a lot of realtors as well. So that's a very, very simple one. If you're going after real estate agents in your area to send you business, you want to add them, right? You want to add them, become friends with them. Do not, and I warn you, do not just DM them some weak copy and pasted message. Obviously, we hate that stuff. Think about how irritating it is when recruiters send you messages, right, out of nowhere that you have no idea. It's not only is it irritating, but it's kind of, in a way, it's disrespectful, and it puts kind of a taint on the relationship, and it's very difficult to rebound from that. So the way that you interact with people, by the way, and this goes with what I was saying before, when it comes to commenting and interacting with other people's posts and stuff, your interactions have to be genuine. You cannot just like say, cool picture, right? You have to really read what they're saying. You have to look at the image, the video that they uploaded, and comment something genuine and actually care. People can smell an agenda BS from a mile away. So to repeat for the 10th time, when you're interacting with people on social media, make sure your interaction is genuine. Okay, so again, going back to realtors, same thing. If you're adding realtors and interacting with them, don't just straight message them, hey, I'm a lender in your area, send me business. Come on, we're better than that. Brokers are better than that. Okay, so same strategy with a realtor. Interact with their posts. Don't come across as a needy stalker psycho, right? Comment and interact with some stuff. And again, be genuine. Be genuine. It helps. Okay, so going back to, before I move on to the next subject, when it comes to the platforms that resonate with my clients, we talked about Facebook, Instagram, but what is key is to have a presence everywhere. So for instance, I have a Google business page. Obviously, I have LinkedIn, Twitter. So it's important that people see you in multiple places, because before anyone reaches out to us for mortgage advice, they're Googling us. So for instance, when they Google you and they see your name on, your Facebook personal page, your Facebook business page, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, Google page, and probably 10 other things that I haven't even thought of, and they see that you're everywhere, it tells the customer that you take your business seriously. Okay. Imagine having, let's say that we want to buy, XYZ widget from whatever company, and we go onto their Facebook page and see that they haven't posted since May 11th from, 2017. That in itself communicates that that company doesn't take their business very seriously. So if you have one of these professional pages, the quality of the content, again, does not matter that much. Not nearly as much as we think that it does anyway. The important thing to communicate is that we're in business, we take it seriously, and that we are present. Okay, so just something to keep in mind, because it all connects. Okay, next question. What are some of my branding principles? Okay, we kind of covered that, but I'll just repeat them again, is that everything you do has to be genuine. Be yourself. That's the other thing. So I am the British mortgage broker. I'm very sarcastic, which doesn't come across well to a lot of people, but I'm British, and British people tend to be sarcastic. But more importantly, that's who I am. I'm not trying to be someone else. If you try and be someone else when it comes to engaging with people, again, most people can kind of see that coming from a mile away, but it's exhausting. It's exhausting to try and be something that you're not. If it's too tiring or irritating for you to do, then again, you're not going to do it consistently. And we need the posting on social media, the interacting on social media to be consistent in order to get something out of it. So that's just one of the branding principles. A few other things I would say, actually, you know what? Oh, no, that's the next question. Okay, you know what? In that case, let's go on to the next question, which this is number 7. This is the final question, is how can branding beginners get started? Okay, so the key, again, as I mentioned in the very beginning, is not to overthink your content. And this is a very, very simple trick that I give everyone, and it's not even a trick. It's like if you're struggling to come up with ideas for content, do this, okay? What are the 30 most common questions your borrowers ask you? Write them down and make a video, or if you're not comfortable with video yet, you can make a post on it, though people are less likely to read posts than they are to watch a video. But that's the way to do it. It is basically write these questions down and make a video one at a time. Okay, so for instance, you could say, but what is the difference between an FHA and a conventional loan? And we know as mortgage originators that to truly explain it in a very, very accurate format, we would have to be insanely technical, and it would probably take anywhere from 5 to 10 minutes to explain every single difference. So again, keep in mind, what is the objective here? The objective is not to boost our own ego and show our feed how technical we can be when it comes to our own mortgage knowledge, right? It's just going to make us come across as arrogant. We want the consumer to feel comfortable and to reach out to us. Notice a pattern here. I keep repeating that. So you would say, okay, these are the three main differences between FHA and conventional loans, and then just pick three and boom, attack each one and make a video out of it. Very simple. You want to keep it short, anywhere between 30 seconds to, I say, a maximum of 2 minutes. This way it will keep them engaged, and obviously have some consistency in your videos. Use nice lighting. Right now, I'm using a very small ring light behind my computer camera, but it doesn't have to be anything fancy. I don't have any fancy gadgets other than my videographer has a gimbal, which balances the camera, and we have a microphone, which obviously improves the audio quality of the videos. But the truth is, when I got the most engagement on my videos and my content, I didn't even go that crazy. I didn't even have a gimbal. I didn't have the microphone. We just recorded it from the iPhone. Again, that type of stuff, it makes you more relatable. If you've got a big setup, people, in my opinion, will be less inclined to reach out to you. So again, when it comes to content, pick 30 ideas that your consumers ask you, and then you could do the same thing for whoever you're trying to elicit business from. Okay, it could be from realtors, financial planners, attorneys, whatever it may be. You could just pick the subjects that come up in conversations with them in relation to the mortgage business, because you obviously want to connect you to them. So that's easy. Okay, and obviously, just bite the bullet and post, and remember that people really do not care about your videos, your posts, your insecurities nearly as much as you think they do. I have a ton of reasons myself and my own insecurities as to why I wouldn't want to be on video, but at the end of the day, people really don't care. Again, I'm not that special. Now, I'll repeat what I mentioned before. If you're a little bit hesitant to start posting videos as actual posts, start in the Facebook, Instagram, and I think LinkedIn has it too now, in the stories, right? Because they feel less permanent. They go away in 24 hours. It's a good way to warm up into doing video content and putting yourself out there. Even if you do, a cute little selfie, here and there. It's the rules are a little bit different. I find for men. Men tend to get ostracized when they post a lot of selfies, and women, it's more acceptable. But that's a whole other conversation, right? So just keep that in mind. Don't overthink everything, and start posting away. Let's see, anything else that I haven't covered? I would ask you guys questions, but obviously no one is there. So yeah, that's about all I have. Again, branding. My name is Ben Lavender, New York's favorite bold British mortgage broker. And if you guys honestly have any questions, I don't just say this to be nice or to be polite. I genuinely mean it. If you have a question about getting started and putting yourself out there, please feel free to DM me, and I'd be more than happy to help you. Wishing you best of luck in 2021.